What is disaster resilience? Here you have to define the disaster resilience. Mention the fact, how is it determined? Describe the various elements of a resilience framework. Also mention the global targets of Sendai framework for disaster risk reduction. Now, what exactly is a disaster? What is disaster resilience? Mention the factors determining disaster resilience along with elements of a resilience framework. Mention the 7 global targets of Sendai framework for disaster risk reduction along with the priorities for action. And how to conclude the answer? Give the Government of India's initiative to implement the Sendai's framework. So this is about the important questions of disaster management asked in the UPSC mains exam. So what is disaster resilience? Disaster resilience is the ability to withstand, prevent and recover from the harmful effects of natural hazards on people, places and the environment. Disaster resilience is determined by several factors. What are they? Adaptive capacity, the ability to adjust to disturbances, moderate damage and learn from the shocks. Then exposure to risk, the magnitude and frequency of shock or stress. Then sensitivity, how much a system is affected by shock or stress, it is the sensitivity. Then organization, the ability to organize oneself to learn from past disasters and reduce the future risk of disaster. The 4 elements of resilience framework are and the global targets of Sendai framework for disaster risk reduction. The Sendai framework for disaster risk reduction is a UN General Assembly endorsed agreement that aims to reduce the disaster risk and loss through a combination of global targets and a shared responsibility between government and other stakeholders. Now, priorities for action. Priority 1 is disaster risk management needs to be based on an understanding of disaster risk in all its dimensions of vulnerability, capacity, exposure of person and assets, hazard characteristic and environment. The second priority is disaster risk governance at the national, regional and global level is vital to management of disaster risk reduction in all sectors. The third priority is public and private investment in disaster risk prevention and reduction through structural and non-structural measures are essential to enhance the economic, social, health and cultural resilience of persons. So this was about the disaster resilience. Then let us move on to the next question. Flooding in urban areas, very important question. It is an emerging climate-induced disaster. Discuss the causes of this disaster. Mention the features of 2 such major floods in the last 2 decades in India. Describe the policies and frameworks in India that aim at tackling such floods. So, how to approach this? For number 1 is define urban flooding. Discuss the key contributors to urban flooding. Highlight significant flood events, noting their cause. Highlight policies and frameworks related to flood management. Conclude by emphasizing the importance of effective management and sustainable infrastructure to enhance urban resilience against flooding. Now, what is urban flooding? Urban flooding is a climate-induced disaster occurs when heavy rainfall overwhelms the drainage system, inundating the land or property in densely populated areas like cities. Now, what is the cause of urban flooding? Climate change. Climate change drives urban flooding by increasing rainfall intensity. Warmer air holds more moisture, resulting in heavier precipitation. Rising temperature, particularly in urban heatlands, further disrupts seasonal weather patterns. Sea level rise heightens risk for coastal cities, leading to flooding and freshwater contamination with seawater. Then urbanization. Urbanization exacerbates flood risk by increasing impervious surface that elevate the runoff and reduce water absorption. while encroachment on floodplains disrupt natural water flow due to inadequate regulation. Then improper solid waste management. It blocks the drainage system causing overflow during heavy rains and further complicating flooding risk with the mixing of sewage as well as the storm water. Now major flood events, Chennai floods in 2015, heavy rains and poor drainage along with destruction of 300 inland water bodies due to urban growth, intensified flooding, significant reduction of marshlands, determined, undetermined natural ecosystem and floods control. Mumbai floods were in 2005, they were triggered by heavy rainfall overwhelming a century-old drainage system designed to handle only 25 mm of rain per hour. Urbanization led to 40% reduction in mangroves and decline in green spaces, further aggravating flooding and preventive effective water reabsorption. The policies and frameworks to tackle urban floods in India, guidelines on management of urban flooding. Guidelines were issued by National Disaster Management Authority. These guidelines promote a multidisciplinary approach for urban flood management plan. Smart Cities Mission promotes sustainable urban infrastructure including smart drainage and flood management systems. Amrut 2 focuses on upgrading stormwater drainage and urban infrastructure to reduce flood vulnerability. Stormwater Drainage Manual provides guidance on sustainable stormwater management and flood response planning. So in fact, urban flooding is driven by climate change. It poses significant risk to cities. Effective management through sustainable infrastructure and adherence to NDMA guidelines can enhance the city resilience. So this was all about urban flooding, a very important question. Now, dam failures are always catastrophic, especially on the downstream sites, resulting in colossal loss of life and property. Analyze the various causes of dam failures. Give two examples of large dam failures. So what is dam failure? A dam failure is simply an uncontrolled release of water from a reservoir through a dam because of structural failures or deficiencies in the dam. It is ranked third in terms of building large dams. Dam failure in India can potentially result in a release of large quantities of water, imposing risk on people or property downstream. The causes of dam failure are overtopping. It is caused due to poor spillway design leading to reservoir filling too high, especially in times of heavy rainfall. Then foundational defects. Instability of slope can lead to seepage of water beneath the dam. Then operational failures. Valves and conduit failures often cause improper functioning, which can lead to inadequate water discharge. So, geological instability, tectonic induced calamities like landslides, earthquakes can pose a threat to dam structures. So, during earthquakes, these dams can get damaged. Then, aging dam. As the dams age, there is a rising frequency of flooding and other environmental changes that can accelerate the dam aging process. Structural failure, inadequate design, poor construction material or maintenance can lead to dam collapse. Now, examples of large dam failure are Machu Dam failure 1979 due to heavy rainfall and improper design. The Machu 2 Dam in Gujarat burst, resulting in a catastrophic flood. The torrential flow destroyed villages, claiming the lives of over 2,000 people. Tiwari Dam failure in 2019. Situated in Ratnagiri, Maharashtra, the Tiwari Dam breached due to excessive rainfall, flooding 7 villages and killing several people. Efforts like Dam Safety Act 2021, Dam Rehabilitation and Improvement Project, that is DRIP project, are the steps in right direction to prevent catastrophic events of dam failure in India. So this was all about dam failure. They are always catastrophic, especially on the downstream side. There is a loss of life and property. So the various causes of dam failure we have analyzed. We have given the example of two large dam failures. Explain the mechanism and occurrence of cloudburst in the context of the Indian subcontinent. Discuss two recent examples. So what is a cloudburst exactly? Cloudbursts are short duration, intense rainfall events over a small area. So the duration is important, the intensity is important. According to Indian Meteorological Department, It is a weather phenomenon with unexpected precipitation exceeding 100 millimeter per hour. See, our drainage systems are capable of only 24 millimeter per hour, whereas this is 100 millimeter per hour over a geographical region of approximately 20 to 30 square kilometer in the Indian subcontinent. It is generally observed in the Himalayan region. How is the mechanism of cloudburst? When moisture-laden air moves through hilly terrain, it forms a vertical column of cloud, which is also known as cumulonimbus cloud. These clouds are generally associated with rain, thunder and lightning. These unstable clouds cause an intense rainstorm over a small area locked in ridges and valleys between the hills. Occurrence of cloudburst. The relative humidity and cloud cover is at maximum level with low temperature and slow winds, because of which clouds may get condensed at very rapid rate and result in a cloudburst. The recent cloudbursts were in Amarnath cloudburst in July 2022, which caused heavy casualties of pilgrims on Yatra. In August 2022, several people have been killed in destruction caused by cloudburst and flash floods in different parts of Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand. With rising occurrence of cloudburst every year, it has become necessary to install a dense network of weather instrument and computing capabilities, especially for the hilly regions. So we have explained the mechanism and occurrence of cloudburst, and we have also given the two recent examples. Discuss about vulnerability of India to earthquake related hazards. Give examples including salient features of major disaster caused by earthquake in different parts of India during the last 3 decades. What is an earthquake? Earthquake is a shaking of earth caused due to release of energy which generates waves that travel in all directions. Earthquake hazards can range across ground shaking, surface rupture, landslides, liquefaction, tectonic deformation, tsunami. India is prone to earthquake because the land mass is penetrating into the Eurasian plate, which makes the country prone to earthquake, which can be moderate to very high intensity. India has the risk more increased because there is a densely populated areas, extensive unscientific constructions, concrete jungles and unplanned urbanization have increased the risk of earthquakes in cities. Regions in Himalayan foothills are vulnerable to liquefaction and landslides due to earthquakes. Major disasters caused by earthquakes over the last 3 decades. In 1993, Lathu, relatively shallow depth caused large surface damage. Causes remain debatable due to lack of plate boundaries in the region. In 1999, Chamoli, caused by thrust fault, resulted in landslides causing changes in surface water flow and surface rupture and disconnected valley. In 2001, Bhuj, associated with reactivated fault which was previously unknown. Impeccable loss of property and life occurred in Bhuj in 2001. 2004, Indian Ocean tsunami created by underwater seismic activity and created massive waves which flooded coastal areas, causing long-term changes. 2005, Kashmir caused a severe upthrust of Indian plate against Eurasian plate. It created multiple aftershocks, infrastructure and communication was disrupted. India has come a long way on the road to earthquake safety, and yet much remains to be done before this journey is completed. Creating a system and culture for building safe houses which are earthquake resistant in 21st century is something which is not only possible but it is an absolute necessity. We have to look into this. Describe the various causes and the effects of landslides. Mention the important components of the National Landslide Risk Management Strategy. What is landslide? A landslide is defined as movement of a mass of rock, debris or earth down a slope. They are a type of mass wasting which denotes any downward movement of soil and rock under the influence of gravity. Slope movement occurs when force acting downwards, mainly due to gravity, exceed the strength of earth material that compose the slope. Landslides are caused due to 3 major factors. It may be geology, morphology and human activity. Geology refers to characteristic of the material. The earth or rock might be weak or it may be fractured rock or different layers may have different strengths and stiffness. Morphology refers to structure of land. For example, slopes that lose their vegetation to fire or drought are more vulnerable to landslides. Human activity refers to agriculture and construction which increase the risk of landslide. Landslide can be initiated in slopes already on the verge of movement by rainfall, snow melt, changes in the water level, stream erosion, disturbance by human activities, or any combination of these factors. Earthquake, shaking, and other factors also induce landslide underwater. Different effects of landslide are as follows. Landslides have been verified to result in destruction of property. If the landslide is significant, it could drain the economy of the region or the country. After a landslide, the area affected normally undergoes rehabilitation. Infrastructure such as roads, railways, leisure destination, buildings and communication system can be decimated by a single landslide. Communities living at the foot of hills and mountains are at greater risk of death by landslides. A substantial landslide carries along huge rock, heavy debris and heavy soil with it. The soil, debris and rocks sliding downhill can find way into rivers and block their natural flow. Many river habitats like fish can die due to interference of natural flow of water. Important components of National Landslide Risk Management Strategy are as follows. Generation of user-friendly landslide hazard maps, development of landslide monitoring and early warning system, awareness programs, capacity building and training of stakeholders, preparation of mountain zone regulation and policies, stabilization and mitigation of landslides, and creation of special purpose vehicle for landslide management. So these are the various causes and effects of landslide, important components of National Landslide Risk Management Strategy. Discuss the recent measures initiated in disaster management by the Government of India, departing from the earlier reactive approach. So what is disaster? Disaster is a result of natural or man-made causes that lead to sudden disruption of normal life, causing severe damage to life and property to an extent that the available social and economic protection mechanisms are inadequate to cope. Disaster in India is managed under the Disaster Management Act 2005. Recent measures in disaster management are a departure from the erstwhile reactive approach wherein authorities acted after a disaster had occurred. Such an approach used to focus entirely on rescue, rehabilitation and reconstruction. But recent measures inter alia also focus on preparedness, mitigation and adaptation. Since recent measures initiated in disaster management services was conceived by NDMA and during 2015-2016 for setting up a very small aperture terminal network connecting the MHA, NDMA, and DRF to provide fail-safe communication infrastructure and technical support for emergency.